I don't know about you guys, but the month sitting with Yarrow went by so fast, partly probably because this was a little more of an intense sit for me. I heard from a few people along the way. It seems like a few of us got some uh, gentle jostling from the Yarrow spirit. So that's good, right? That's how we do the deeper work and learn stuff about ourselves along the way. We'll figure out what we need to work on. So what I would like to do, just as we wind the journey down, today's the last day, right? Sat for the last time this morning. Same as every month is, first and foremost, open the conversation, use the comments below here on Patreon to share your experiences, what similarities, differences, what you got out of this, the good stuff, the challenges. All of that is really important and helps us deepen the work. And also just to share some of my experiences. So I've just kind of dog-eared a couple of entries from my journey journal, that I'll share with you. So pretty early on, within the first, let's see, that was 20, so the first 3 days of the journey, I had written an immediate and pronounced opening up, as if more space was made within me, gentle, expanding, honeycomb openness, light, peaceful, quiet, airy, and weightless. A tension and heaviness around my right eye and eye socket. Breathed into it, guided the medicine there, worked with the plant, opened and stretched, eyes better. So for me, that feeling carried all the way through to this morning. Never stopped. But what was interesting is it kept deepening and unfolding and getting layers. So that opening, expanding, airy, porous feeling was so consistent. And as I continued to sit every day that I sat, it was like the minute I kind of, sat down and lit candles and did all the thing and, took tincture. I just did 3 drops every single sit with Yarrow. It was just like this immediate opening up, and sort of internally it felt almost like my periphery, not necessarily my skin at first, but more just like energetically the energy cocoon that I'm in sort of opened up into this honeycomb shape with spaces in it, right? And it didn't feel vulnerable. It didn't feel like I was letting things in or out that shouldn't be there. It felt just really light and open, like I was holding on too tight. And Yarrow was like, hey, you can expand a little bit. So that feeling stayed all the way through. And then 10 days later, sat out in the garden with Yarrow today, chanting Yarrow to the best of my pronunciation, which is the old English name for Yarrow. I've really fallen in love with that practice of sitting down with a plant, either in person or at my altars or whatever, and just sort of chanting or singing one of their folk names or even their scientific name if it's easier to pronounce, as a way to just kind of attune to them, right? To kind of call them in and call myself in and bring that in. Yarrow focusing more on purging, releasing, banishing than on protecting. A sense that I'm already well protected. That's nice. We think about the hemostatic properties of Yarrow of protecting or preserving the good, keeping the blood inside the body, and then that flip side diaphoretic action of Yarrow pushing out what we don't need through the symbolism of sweat. For me, that's where the real focus was. It was less on holding or protecting anything and more on letting stuff out, letting stuff, go out. Strong gnosis from Yarrow, you have to let go. You have much to let go of, and you have to learn to let things go in the moment, not after the fact. Let them move through you as a breeze moves through Yarrow flowers. So, okay, this is me getting called out a little bit, and it's honestly very accurate, that I can let go of things, and I kind of process stuff and figure out what I don't need or what I don't want, but I tend to do it over time. It takes me time to process and to think and to analyze. And Yarrow is really like, look, when something comes in and it doesn't sit right, just let it go. that fear that comes up for me is, what if I let it go and I needed it? And the reality is, like, you'll know, right? Just relax about it. 3 days later, Yarrow says, let go of what? Of everything. Just let go, right? Hard one for me. So that porous, open, airy, breezy energy of Yarrow just kept deepening and deepening and deepening until towards the end of our journey here, the connection between diaphoresis and the antispasmodic effect of Yarrow. Yarrow kept encouraging me to open, open, open. At first, on the physical level, the pores, then my posture. Then it all deepened to an openness of being. And in that moment, I felt the tissues, muscles, fascia of my body also open and release and relax. Pores first, then the other tissues can open and release through those open windows. So it really ended with this concept of where it started, right? Of maybe being too bound up, too cocooned, too tight, and that there being a great deal of power in just sort of letting go and being spacious and being open and not caving in on myself, and deepening and deepening until there was a physical response to that feeling of openness, that by opening the pores and by creating expansiveness in my body, all the tissues and musculature in my body was able to like release and literally push the tension out through all that open space to let it blow out like a breeze, right? So really good lessons from Yarrow. I've said this before, I'll say it again. When you have these experiences with plants, please put them in a notebook. Like, that's so, so important, but it gets into your bones, you'll never forget the next time this comes up for you or somebody. Even if you don't consciously remember the bullet points of all the things Yarrow taught you during your time with them, it will awaken in you, right? The craving for the plant that's how it feels to me. The craving of a plant will come up. And then as you contemplate, Yarrow's coming up for me, you go back to your notebook and say, oh, this is how Yarrow and I work together. It's actually about releasing and unwinding and relaxing, right? When maybe those are not the angles that you're going to find in the Materia Medica. Like, Materia Medica will talk around that, so you're not going into the weeds. Like, as I check my work, making sure that it's safe, and sane, I find references to Yarrow being antispasmodic, to Yarrow being diaphoretic, to Yarrow being hemostatic. All of that is supported. But in my sitting with this plant, what that actually means on a spiritual level is now realized for me, right? Instead of just reading, oh, Yarrow's antispasmodic, they're going to help take spasm and tension out of the muscles. That's cool. Now I know why and how and what the process is, and that if I give this medicine to somebody, what the journey of getting to that relaxation point might look like. And when myself or other people that I work with are struggling with, unbinding, letting the cocoon be less tight and less wound, I will think, Yarrow is a fantastic ally for doing that. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing in the comments below. Let me know how your sit was. Really excited to begin with hyssop next. We're doing hyssop to cleanse and clear and purify and forgive and just shake off those heavy emotions that are not fun to carry around. So we'll start that soon. Thanks very much for being a part of these journeys. I really value this stuff, and I do think this is the best way to learn plant medicine. See you next time.